Let me introduce you to data modeling, which is creating relationship in Power Pivot. So before we do that, we have to understand what is data normalization. Data normalization is the process of structuring a relational database in accordance with a series of so-called normal forms in order to reduce data redundancy and improve data integrity. So let us look at this particular redundancy we're talking about in that particular definition of database normalization. Data redundancy occurs when the same piece of data exists in multiple places. For example, this table. This table is supposed to be a transactional table, but after all, we have a lot going on right here. So we have the customer with customer information, the customer ID repeated several times, and the customer information. We have the store and as well this store information. Look at it: store ID, store type, store city, region ID, sales district, and sales region, customer ID, first name and last name. And what you can see right now is that we have this for transactional table. This is not an ideal. Don't do this. Well, in normal Excel worksheet, if you want to analyze data, you need to use VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP or even index and match to join your tables together, just like what we are seeing on the screen right now, in order for you to be able to use the pivot table. But with the way we are actually going to create advanced report and dashboard, we don't need to follow this rule of pivot table stuff. So we are going to actually do this instead. Now we have this table here. You have to actually make sure you single out the transactional table from the store table. Here's the store lookup. So if you look at it now, we have this particular store ID here that will be used to connect to your transactional, table. And now we go to the region. We can actually segment region table on its own. It will now become the lookup table. And the fourth one is actually the customer table, which will definitely look just like this. Now on its own, we have transactional table right here. And the second one is the region table, where we have it as a lookup, and we have the third one, which is the customer table, and the fourth one is the store table. So this is how it's going to look when we actually create this analysis. So we are joining this particular store ID to this very store ID here. That is a lookup. So it's going to be one-to-many relationship. Don't worry, when we get there, we cross the bridge. But this is exactly what you need to understand. And the next one, we connect this particular table to this table. Instead of we just actually combining the data we have right here on those two tables inside this very table and make it very huge in columns. No, don't do that. The last but not least is actually joining this table to this table. This is exactly the practice we are going to actually, follow to make sure we create a lookup in our Power Pivot. Now, if you were asked what is data normalization, you have known what data normalization is. So can you see that? With this diagram, it explains to you that you have to actually make any table that could stand on its own to remain standing on its own toes. Don't mix it up with another table. Just do that and your life will be very easy. So this is what normalization is all about.